TomoNews presents Good Samaritans.
Man trapped in ATM gets withdrawn by cops. A Texas contractor found himself held captive by a cash machine and had to go old school to get out. The worker was changing the locks for the ATM vestibule when he was locked in because he left his swipe card in the truck. Poor fella also left his phone, so he couldn't call for help. But the ATM was working just fine, and what he did have was a pen and paper. He resorted to slipping notes through the receipt slot, begging people to please help. I'm stuck in here and I don't have my phone. Please call my boss. Unfortunately for him, everyone who got the note thought it was a bizarre joke, and the poor man was stuck for 2 hours until someone took it seriously enough to call the cops. Even the cops didn't think it was for real, even after they heard a little voice coming from the machine. Still, they eventually came to the man's rescue, kicking down the door to finally get him out. Now there's a man who's never been so happy to get away from a cash machine. Crazy!
Hero bus driver saves 3-year-old from kidnapper. A Northern California bus driver is being hailed a hero after he says he followed his parental instincts, an intuition so sharp it led him to stop a kidnapper from abducting a 3-year-old boy on Friday. Tim Watson, a father of 2, read a police alert during his morning shift that said a child had been abducted from a nearby library. The suspect, a man in his mid-20s, last seen some 45 minutes outside San Francisco, with a boy wearing a blue shirt, plaid shorts, and red Crocs. About an hour after catching sight of the alert, Watson noticed a suspicious man and a teary-eyed boy among his passengers, both of whom fit the descriptions. Following his gut instincts, he devised a sneaky plan and put it into motion without tipping the suspect off. He pulled the bus over and announced to everyone aboard that someone had lost a backpack. When he got to the back of the vehicle to perform a fake search, he noticed the child's red shoes and realized he was spot on. Watson next got off the bus and called authorities, who told him to drive to the next stop, Fremont BART station, where officers would lie in wait. As the bus began to pull over, officers swarmed the vehicle and quickly pried the child away from 23-year-old Alfonso Eddington. The child thankfully escaped injury, and Eddington was detained on kidnapping charges. Watson told authorities he's glad he acted on his fatherly instincts. Thanks to his quick-thinking efforts, the little boy returned safely to his mother. Now that's a hero.
Homeless guy offers his last few pounds to college student. A 22-year-old university student is going to stay outside for 24 hours to raise money for a homeless man named Robbie, who gave her his last 3 pounds so she could take a taxi home safely. Dominique Harrison Benson had lost her bank card, but she didn't find out until she went to get money out for a taxi. I suddenly realized that I had no money, and a homeless man approached me with his only change of 3 pounds, Dominique said. He insisted I took it to pay for a taxi to make sure I got home safe. I ended up posting a status on Facebook to try to find him the next day, and it turns out I'm not the only person he has helped. Other commenters on Facebook said Robbie has helped them out before, returning wallets and offering his scarf to people that were cold. Dominique said she didn't end up accepting Robbie's heartwarming offer, but she wants to pay him back for his generosity to her and others by trying to raise money for him so that he can rent an apartment.
Prickle covered koala saved by a helpful neighbor. One fine day in Apollo Bay, Australia, an uncomfortable koala bear ended up on a man's doorstep upon finding itself in a prickly predicament. On the morning of December 17th, Aussie Bruce Atkinson walked out the door to see a disheveled koala approaching him, covered in burrs. The koala was clearly distressed, and Atkinson quickly tried to offer her a bowl of water, but the koala swiftly batted it away. Koalas, you see, get their water solely from eucalyptus leaves, and are not familiar with the concept of bowls or bowls of water. Noticing itchy burrs all over her fur, Bruce tried his best to clean her up a bit, brushing her from head to toe on her front side, and on her backside too. Burrs rather enjoy sticking to fur, and lacking dexterous thumbs, they can be tricky to remove for many animals. You might be wondering how she got all burred up in the first place. Well, a wildlife officer suggested to Bruce that the koala may have been trying to escape the advances of the males in her area, who tend to get a bit frisky this time of year. But luckily for this koala, she managed to get away from those pesky boys, and instead got to enjoy a day at Bruce's luxurious koala spa. After a wacky brush with a prickly bush, what more could a girl ask for, right?
Student lets special needs man hold his hand on the bus. A photo of a college student in Ontario, Canada, who let a stranger with special needs hold his hand on the bus, has since gone viral. Godfrey Kudo was on his way home from a burrito place downtown when he got onto a packed bus, and a man sitting close to the front wanted a handshake. "He kept holding my hand," Kudo said. "I thought I was getting pranked at first, but he just needed comfort." Over the half-hour bus ride, Kudo said Robert held his hand, leaned on him, hugged him, and also kissed his hands during the ride. "I just allowed it. Like, what am I gonna do?" Kudo said. "Sometimes you just have to be selfless and put someone else's need above yours." Someone from Robert's family got in touch with Kudo through Facebook and thanked him for being there for his uncle. They told him Robert suffered from cerebral palsy and was deaf.
Faith in humanity restored. This poor kitten in China got trapped behind a glass wall without food and water and was slowly dying. But luckily, a good Samaritan came to the rescue. Earlier this month, the cat somehow became stuck behind the wall in a building in the southwestern city of Chengdu. After a period reported to be 3 days, a karaoke receptionist saw the kitten. He looked around but realized there were no gaps available for him to pull the little guy out. So the receptionist called the building's property management office to ask for help. Building staff knew the glass wall was built between aluminum door frames and a load-bearing wall, so they dug out a tunnel to rescue the kitten. After the successful rescue, the receptionist decided to take the tired and hungry cat home and adopt it. However, despite the good news, we're still wondering exactly how did the kitten get trapped in the first place, and why it took 3 days for anyone to notice. Let us know in the comments if you got any bright ideas about that.
Hello, this is Siri.
A critically ill 14-year-old girl in Texas managed to save herself and her family from Hurricane Harvey when she came up with the brilliant idea to call Apple's personal assistant, Siri. Tyler Frank and her family woke up in the middle of the night on August 27th to find their home filled with chest-level water. To make matters worse, Tyler suffers from sickle cell anemia, and she started to have what's called a sickle cell crisis. Parts of her body weren't getting enough oxygen because her abnormally shaped red blood cells were clogging her vessels and preventing oxygen from reaching parts of her body. Stranded on their roof with the water rising, after several failed calls to 911 and fruitless pleas for help on Facebook and Instagram, Tyler turned to Siri. The first rescue helicopter arrived on August 28th, but the Coast Guard service team assessed the situation and informed the family that only the elderly were being taken at that time. Tyler used Siri again to call the Coast Guard, and thankfully, another rescue helicopter showed up for Tyler and her family early on the morning of August 29th. Tyler was first treated by doctors in Pasadena, Texas, then taken to Memorial Hermann Hospital, and eventually back to Texas Children's Hospital, where she's been treated since she was a baby. Because of the hurricane, the Franks lost their home and car. For now, Tyler, her mother, and her 4 brothers are staying at a room at a Super 8 motel off a Houston highway.
Dog saves unconscious bird and pair form incredible bond. A small pet dog spotted a little bird in dire straits, and rather than watch it die, he went in search of help. Diamond, a Jack Russell Terrier, had just come in from a walk with his owner, Gunner. Minutes after Gunner sat down at his computer, Diamond ran over, whining. Not understanding why, Gunner initially waved the pooch off, but the little dog was persistent, and eventually Gunner gave in and followed Diamond to check things out. To his astonishment, lying outside on the floor of their balcony was a tiny bird who appeared to be dead. But when Gunner noticed it blink, he quickly gathered it up and tried to bring it back to life with some water and birdseed. Incredibly, the bird was flapping its wings again in no time, and when Gunner was about to let it go, the bird flew over to Diamond and landed on his head. A show of thanks, if you will. The two shared a few friendly kisses, and Gunner named the bird BB. He then left BB outside to encourage her to return to the wild. Apparently, BB wanted one last sleepover with Diamond, and so Gunnar arranged for it. The next day, BB took flight and flew high in the air. Gunnar says now, whenever he asks, "Where's BB?" Diamond hops on the couch and looks out the window for his pal. Maybe somewhere outside that window, she's there, keeping an eye on him too.
Good Samaritan jumps off bridge as car almost hits him. A Good Samaritan was forced to jump off a bridge while trying to direct traffic following a hit-and-run accident early Friday morning. A Pontiac sedan was pushed into the guardrail in a hit-and-run accident on Interstate 95 while crossing the Savannah River. Two men from a truck stopped to help direct traffic. But a driver heading southbound on the bridge didn't see the men and came close to hitting one of them, forcing one man to jump off the bridge, a fall estimated at between 75 and 100 feet. The man swam to shore and was treated for minor injuries on the riverbank after medics lowered a first aid kit down from the bridge. Police are now looking for a white Chevy Avalanche truck which was involved in the hit-and-run accident. The driver in the Pontiac sedan said his wife and 3-year-old daughter were taken to the hospital with minor injuries.
Good Samaritans rescue baby and toddler from Texas storm. A vicious storm that ravaged North Texas over the weekend claimed the lives of at least 4. It could have easily claimed 2 more if it wasn't for a group of strangers that sprung into action when help was needed most. Since being uploaded to Facebook on April 29th, this video capturing efforts to free a newborn and a toddler from drowning has been viewed more than 26 million times. As you can see, rushing waters flooded the side of a road near Canton, Texas. As winds raged, Philip and Emily Ochiltree's Chevy Silverado pickup truck fell victim to one of Mother Nature's nasty moods. With their 4-month-old baby boy, an 18-month-old little girl trapped in the back seat, the family of 4 had little to no hope of escaping on their own. Luckily for them in their hour of need, the few folks who passed by didn't hesitate to come to their aid. Diving into the water and using a tire iron, lots of muscle, and spontaneous teamwork, they managed to pry the young children loose from the car and get them to safety.
The baby in. Baby here. Right here.
The infants, however, were blue in the face, bleeding from the mouth and barely breathing. That's when the man shooting the scene started performing CPR, as a woman prayed to Jesus right behind him.
Breathing. She is breathing. There she goes.
Miraculously, seconds before paramedics arrived on scene, he managed to bring them both back to life. Status updates from the parents indicate their youngest child, baby Marshall, is doing well, and little Addison, despite initially needing a breathing machine to keep her alive, is now awake and on the road to recovery. Today, a family is whole again, thanks to some of the bravest hearts in Texas, and maybe baby Jesus. Houston businessman turns furniture stores into Hurricane Harvey shelters. As Hurricane Harvey pounded Houston over the weekend, a local businessman selflessly opened up his 2 furniture stores to families in need of refuge. Jim Mickenvale, also known as Mattress Mac, welcomed hundreds of people into his 2 gallery furniture stores on Sunday night after seeing the devastation left by Harvey. He told NPR, "When the hurricane first hit down here, I thought this was going to be a one-day event. Then I came into work the next day and I saw the devastation of the entire area and decided it would be best if we opened this 100,000 square foot furniture store as a shelter." He also sent his furniture gallery trucks out into the flood to look for any people in need of a lift. Mattress Mac now has about 400 people in his 2 stores, where he's serving them 3 square meals a day. Mac thinks it'll run around $30,000 to $40,000 to keep the stores going through the relief effort. He told CBS, "We can afford that, and what we can't afford is to cause people to lose hope. We gotta give them hope. That's what my parents would have done. We tip our hat to you, Mac, and also send our prayers to the people of Houston."
Cop buys car seat for mom instead of giving her a ticket. A 31-year-old Michigan public safety officer is being praised as a hero after this touching moment of him buying a booster seat for a needy mother was posted online. The young mother, Alexis DiLorenzo, was in the car's passenger seat, and a friend was behind the wheel when they were spotted driving with her young daughter without a booster seat. Officer Ben Hall was on patrol when he received a tip from a witness. He later pulled over the car, which matched the description from the caller. That's when he saw the 5-year-old girl in the back seat, wearing a seat belt and not sitting in a child safety seat. The mother told Hall she understood the importance of a child safety seat, but had fallen on hard times recently, and her car with the car seat had been repossessed. Instead of issuing DeLorenzo a traffic ticket, Hall bought her a car seat. Officer Hall responded to the public attention by saying, "A ticket doesn't solve the situation, and this was the easiest $50 I ever spent.